The Afghan scandal has broken. Extraordinary that a British government put a super injunction on all the British media that lasted for over 2 years to cover up a story of incompetence, dishonesty and a threat to our own national security. An email missent published the names of 100,000 people in Afghanistan that were available to the Taliban. Many of them had helped us during that 20-year war there. Others were known to us for being, frankly, just bad people. Either way, it was decided in 2023 that we would airlift many of them out of Afghanistan, a process that continues to this day. We decided that 25,000 of the 100,000 should come to the United Kingdom. Amongst the number that have come are convicted sex offenders. I am not, I promise you, making any of this up. And the total cost of the operation has been a staggering £7 billion. Of those that came, none of them were included in the immigration figures. There has been a total veil of secrecy put upon this by the last Conservative government and frankly carried on until now by the current Labour government. The numbers are off the charts. The cost is beyond comprehension. And the threat to women walking the streets of this country, frankly, is incalculable. I can't think of a better example of the total incompetence, dishonesty and genuine lack of understanding what the priorities of a British government are than this Afghan scandal. Labour are collapsing in the polls already, but don't let the Conservative Party, don't let Kemi Badenoch or that very odd little figure Chris Philp, who appears occasionally on our screens, to say, isn't it terrible? They caused it in the first place, and for this, they should never, ever be forgiven.
In what is fast becoming one of the most explosive scandals in recent British political history, details have finally emerged about a government cover-up so vast it's hard to comprehend. For more than 2 years, a super injunction silenced the British media, preventing any reporting on a catastrophic failure of national security, mass incompetence, and political dishonesty surrounding the UK's chaotic Afghan evacuation program. At the heart of the scandal is a highly classified 2023 email leak, an astonishing blunder that exposed the identities of over 100,000 Afghans, including interpreters, allies, informants, and individuals flagged as high-risk security threats. The leak effectively handed their details to the Taliban, putting lives at immediate risk and exposing Britain's intelligence failures on an unprecedented scale. In response to the crisis, the government launched an emergency airlift program that has quietly continued for years, with 25,000 individuals from the leaked list brought to the UK under a cloak of secrecy. Many were genuine allies who had assisted British forces during the 20-year occupation of Afghanistan. Others, according to sources, were known to British authorities as security threats, including convicted sex offenders. Yet despite the magnitude of the issue, none of these evacuees were included in official immigration figures. The Home Office quietly excluded them from public reporting, keeping the real numbers hidden from Parliament and the British public alike. Both the previous Conservative government and the current Labour administration stand accused of jointly suppressing the truth. The super injunction, imposed during the Conservative leadership, remained in place well into Labour's tenure, until leaks finally forced the scandal into the open. The fallout is seismic. Public trust in both major parties is eroding fast. Labour, already stumbling in the polls, is now hemorrhaging support over accusations of complicity in maintaining the veil of secrecy. But Conservatives are hardly off the hook. Critics argue that this crisis was born directly out of Tory incompetence and negligence during the evacuation. Beyond the fiscal disaster, there's a deeper concern. The threat to national security and public safety. Sources inside Whitehall confirm that individuals on the Afghan airlift list were flagged as high risk due to serious criminal records and links to extremist groups. Yet many were still flown into the UK under chaotic and poorly vetted emergency protocols. Calls are growing for a full public inquiry, but trust in any government-led investigation is already paper-thin. Whistleblowers, security officials, and MPs from both sides of the aisle are demanding answers. But so far, no. 10 remains silent. For a government that prides itself on taking back control, this scandal reveals the exact opposite. A country led by politicians too weak to tell the truth, too incompetent to manage security, and too cowardly to face the consequences.
Your knowledge of international diplomacy is staggeringly poor. The idea that China and India are in cahoots against the rest of the world is complete nonsense. If you knew anything about international diplomacy and the geopolitical situation, you would know that China and India are against each other, and India is extremely afraid of what China's doing. You'd also know that actually India is trying to ramp up its production of renewables to compete with China. So this absolute nonsense that you come out with, you do need to actually look at the facts. And the facts are that for the past years, since 2008, when we put in place on a bipartisan basis the climate change agreement, pretty much every other major country around the world has adopted similar legislation to control the threat, because they know that the floods that are happening, the people who are watching this, who've had their floods happen in a way that could never have been predicted, the people who are watching this, who've had their relatives die, the figures say that 10,000 excess summer deaths because of heat stroke from the last 10 years.
So why are Labour politicians banning air conditioning? I mean, this stuff, Barry, you just said a whole load of words and claimed I was talking nonsense, and you didn't actually rebut a single thing I just said. Every single year for the last decade, India and China have increased coal production while this country blew its coal production up. It doesn't matter what they claim in 2070. These people are laughing at us. Whether or not they're colluding in laughing at us, fine, they are laughing at us unilaterally. But the fact is they are laughing at us nevertheless, Barry. And it's time we had proper leadership in this country that say, yeah, of course, we need... renewables have a place in this country,
but change? You accept that it's a serious threat to the globe. You accept it's a serious threat to the global economy.
At no point have I said it's a serious threat to the economy.
So you don't believe it is?
No, I said nobody knows.
No.
There is no serious consensus on this. And every scientist you point to, every scientist, Barry, you point to, every decade since 1960, scientists have claimed that the world was going to end. I mean, every single decade for the last 40 years, there has been a total lack of an ability to predict this stuff.
Right.
So the reality is, Barry, China, India, Russia, the United States.
All you like,
those countries,
but it doesn't deny the
Barry,
fact.
Those countries are responsible for the lion's share of carbon emissions.
Just allow me
and all
to
Britain
come
is
back
doing,
at
as Michelle said,
you
is
never
outsourcing.
do, because you like to talk over people and make sure that nobody gets the word in edgeways.
Right.
As Michelle said, all the United Kingdom is doing under Madeleine Miliband is outsourcing our manufacturing and outsourcing our fossil fuel production to countries like China and India so that he can virtue signal at SW1 dinner parties.
You talked about scientists. The scientists in Russia, the scientists in China, the scientists in America, the scientists in the European Union all agree. How is it that you know
so why are they digging record amounts of coal out of the ground? Why are they digging record amounts of coal out of the ground?
How do you know so much more than they do?
Why are they digging record amounts of coal? That's what matters.
Because they're bringing their economy up to the level that the rest of the world has already achieved.
Yeah.
Okay? But answer the question. Of do you think you know that all those scientists, the people in the Met Office, how do you know that they're wrong?
Every single person watching this programme, those of them who are old enough to remember, will know decade after decade after decade, a UN report in the 1960s, another one in the 1970s, claimed that there was going to be some kind of climate catastrophe that was going to be the end, basically, of civilization within 20 to 25 years. And every time it's been proven to be wrong. The reality is these scientists have no ability to predict
Name one
any
of those
stuff.
reports. Name one that said civilization is going to end.
People can go and Google. People can go and Google this stuff.
Exist.
They absolutely do exist.
Name one.
There's a UN report. There's a UN report that said the ice caps were going to melt completely, and there was going to be such a significant change in global temperatures, Barry, that that civilization would be severely impacted.
Look,